everybody from this moment on to recognize me as the scholar of boxing.
See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
Cruiser 5 to 50 be advised, County Police 1 advised they're trying to breach and get to the Capitol.
Publicists, when you talk to your publicists, you know the first thing they tell you? What? Stay away from religion, stay away from politics.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
No matter what the you say, somebody passionately disagrees with you.
Absolutely.
No matter what religion, you believe in Allah, then you're saying that's not the right way. You believe in every Christianity, that's not it, because they're choosing something different. Your political party, the Democrat, Republican, the disagreement completely.
Yep.
So I stay away from it. When I get pulled into politics, I go,
Yeah.
and I have nothing to say. I'm
That's
just
the same way we are. Well, no politics, none of
I'll
this.
with that. I don't stay there because I'm still entertainment. If it's not music, then it's film and television, but it's still entertainment. So why would you turn someone off by saying that?
Right.
I want everybody to enjoy what I'm doing.
Right.
Not just a selective few amount of people. I focus on diversity because it's needed.
Right.
The boxing scholar is a lover, not a fighter, but he's also a fighter, so don't get any ideas. If he pats you on the back, you'll put it in your resume. His enemy. Have him listed as an emergency contact. The scholar has an inside joke with complete strangers. If he punched you in the face, you'd have to fight the urge not to thank him. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. He's the only man alive to is parallel park. A train is count to infinity twice. In Genesis, when God said, "Let there be light," the scholars said, "Say pretty please." He is the genius of all genius and master of all masters.
And that's the trick to life. You have to be wise enough to know when you were living in your dream. And you have to be humble enough to accept when you're in someone else's.
Yo, the Boxing Scholar's on. What's good, everybody? Give me 1 second. It's the genius! Genius of all genius, master of all mess. What's good, man? We got a good one today. We got some boxing to talk about. It's been a lot of chatter. Hold on. Give me a second. It's been a lot of chatter in the boxing world about who was did wrong and what's going on or whatever the case may be. So, I'm here to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Joseph Parker had a fight over the weekend. If you guys aren't familiar with the channel, you know that I'm not the hugest fan of Joseph Parker. It is what it is, right? But he give me 1 second. But he has been on a win streak, and I have to give the man full credit for what he's been able to accomplish in the sport of boxing, right? I suspect that he may be on steroids. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Nobody has to agree with that opinion. But yeah, I suspect he's on steroids, but I still got to give him full credit. The Ring Magazine was naming him like fighter of the fighter of the year or comeback fighter of the year, something like that. Because he was brutally, devastatingly knocked out by Joe Joyce, and he has redeemed himself. And him beat Bacoli was was a huge upset in my opinion. Even though Bacoli got short notice and stuff like that, Bacoli's still Bacoli. He's probably the most heavy-handed fighter in the heavyweight division right now out of everybody there. You know what I mean? Has really heavy hands. He can hit you with a shot that don't look like it hurt, but it really, really hurts. Deontay Wilder could knock you out and had concussive power too as well. But Deontay Wilder was more speed based. His is wherever he hits you, he hurts you. And let's be honest, the undisputed champion right now at this moment, Usyk, had been rumored to be beat up by Bacoli because Bacoli got them heavy hands. I already know if they spar, Bacoli probably hurt him to the body with a shot that looked like it wouldn't hurt the regular person because he's that heavy-handed. And Joseph Parker knocked that guy out. Now, I ain't gonna lie, that was pretty brutal. That was pretty brutal and pretty violent. I like that knockout. I'm gonna just be honest with you. But he had a fight against Wardley, and he got stopped. And a lot of people was talking about it was premature. And what I said is Joseph Parker to me has become so obsessed with size. And a lot of fighters fall victim to this. A lot of fighters, especially heavyweights, right? There was a video I had of Deontay Wilder, right? Bro, when I tell you this is probably one of my best breakdowns ever. This is one of my best breakdowns ever. It was Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And it was like an hour. So if it was an hour of editing, the video the stuff I shaved off, the fat I shaved off was probably more like 2 hours. And I spent 4 hours breaking down that video. When I tell you I broke it down to atoms, every single part of that ring I broke down. And I got the video struck. And they took all of it. They took the stuff that I didn't even take from PBC. They struck the entire video, even just regular interview. What's good, X? Even the regular stuff that I took, like just regular footage from ES News, stuff like that. They struck that too as well. I'm like, how you strike ES News footage? But anyway, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, that fight happened, right? You remember a lot of people were saying that fight was stopped prematurely. You remember that? And then you also remember that during the fight, people were saying that Tyson Fury had egg whites and then the referee was on the payroll. It's just a lot of stuff where you just be like, which is it? Did the referee start the fight too early or too late? Is there ever a fight stoppage that people are pleased with? Because I feel like Jack Reiss did a good job in that fight. But we're going to get into that later. But I feel like he did an amazing job, and he understands the sport. And he also got experience as an EMT. You know what I mean? So he made the exact right call, but some people say too late, some people say too early. I feel like in this fight, Joseph Parker, like I said, he fell prey to what a lot of smaller guys do. They bulk up too big, and they become so obsessed with size that they won't. They'll lose their advantage, and their advantage is speed. Right? Bud understood this going against Canelo. That's why he bulked up a little bit, but he maintained his speed. You know what I mean? He didn't get overly big to where we just throw him away. And I remember Deontay Wilder. That's why I brought that up. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury was weighing in, right? And this was the second fight, I believe. It was either the second fight, maybe it was the first. And Deontay Wilder got off the scale and he was like 209. And he was so disappointed that he was 209. He was like, man, I can't believe this. He was like, man, I thought I would be weighing more than, and he like defeated from a scale. And I'm like, bro, who cares? You got the power to knock out a horse. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine Mike Tyson getting on the scale being an undersized heavyweight and then being disappointed that his weight wasn't it. But heavyweights do this a lot. They obsessed with just size. And I feel like Joseph Parker did that. Because I was watching a Bacoli fight, and before the fight, and I said, oh, Bacoli weighed that much, and he ain't. I'm like, oh, Parker gonna win this fight. I didn't expect him to win it in the fashion. I ain't finna act like I'm Nostradamus. I thought he would win, but I didn't think he was gonna win as easy and devastatingly as he did. But I did pick Parker in that fight. And Parker said in that fight, they were like, Parker, you're big. You're bigger than you normally are. And he was like, yeah, I feel a little bit more better at this weight. And like, bro, you're a heavyweight. What are you talking about? He had a cut weight or something, but he was like, he feel better at this weight. And that that he feels stronger and all this other stuff. But he made the mistake that all heavyweights make. They get so obsessed with size so obsessed with size that they lose their advantage. Deontay Wilder in the third Tyson Fury fight, remember he started lifting weights. You remember that? Pumping all them weights, you know, and the power was still there, but he got fatigued really fast. Remember when he punched Tyson Fury in the third fight and the shot rippled down his back? I'm willing to take a shot in the dark and say, had Deontay Wilder not bulked up tremendously for that fight, that maybe Tyson Fury don't see the shot because there's more speed on it. And maybe Tyson Fury don't get up for that shot. But he got so obsessed with his size that he brought in the trainer, and the trainer wanted to bulk and just size. You know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of heavyweights go wrong, and Joseph Parker is no different. Joseph Parker was so obsessed with size that he went ahead and just kept letting his weight go up. Because even before this fight, I was looking at the pre-fight. I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought Joseph Parker was gonna kill this guy. Because he had knocked out Bacoli, I'm like, bro, Wardley, less experience. I don't even remember covering Wardley's fights, and I've covered them before. That's how forgettable I think Wardley is. But Bo pulled up and he was like, nah, he was telling me like, nah, Scholar, like this dude good. I'm like, okay, we'll see, you know. And after the first round, like Joseph Parker was dominated the first round. Past the second round, the pace of the fight changed. It just changed. You could see it in real time. And that's when I was like, hey, man, Wardley's doing pretty good. Wardley's doing pretty good. He was rolling that shot. He was rolling that right hand. Joseph Parker didn't make no adjustments, but he adjusted to Joseph Parker's right hand. And I felt like he was doing really good. A lot of people had Joseph Parker ahead in that fight. I disagree. There was even the highlights that they showed inside the ring, right? They would be showing Joseph Parker Joseph Parker throwing 4 punches, but Wardley would make all 4 punches miss, and they were giving him rounds. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Like, people think the fix is in one way. They think the fix is in on the side of Wardley. I think the fix was in on the side of Parker. Meaning Parker was up big going into the 10th round. I felt like Wardley, that was a close fight, in my personal opinion, but it is what it is. So like I said, we about to make this a education session. No diddy. So let me give you this, right? So to the people that was saying that that the fight was stopped prematurely, right? To those people. What's good, Hassan? To the people that were saying the fight was stopped prematurely, we got to take a lot of things into consideration, right? The first thing being is when there's like corruption in boxing, like absolute, we kind of like I ain't gonna say know it is obvious, but they kind of have a track record of that. Now the UK referees, we already know that they are like they stop fights prematurely and early. They don't like the fighters to take damage and die in the ring. It's just that's just the reality of the situation. They don't like fighters to die in the ring, and that's a good thing, in my opinion. This is coming from a guy who likes the fighters. You know, they don't want to see guys die in the ring. So I don't know. It just took me to the other screen. My bad. So they don't want to see fighters die in the ring, so they have a reputation for stopping the fights early, right? That's just it. That's the reality of the situation. The UK referees have the reputations for stopping fights early. You know, is it good or bad? You know, I'd say it depends on who you ask. Like I said, the fight fans give different opinions every time you ask them. But I wanted to show this right here. So this is the worst referee ever. Lawrence Cole, right? And this is what I mean by when it's corruption. To me, it's obvious. It's no doubt about it that it's corruption. This is Lawrence Cole, right? We already know. For the people who know, Lawrence Cole is the worst referee ever, right? So check this out. And what's crazy about it is Lawrence strikes again. Lawrence just had a fight either this week or a week ago, and it was typical Lawrence Cole, prime Lawrence Cole in his corrupt fashion. You know, Texas referee always getting the decisions wrong, always making bad decisions in the fight. Should not be a referee in the sport of boxing, in my personal opinion, because there's no way either he's super duper incompetent or he's just flat out corrupt. And either way, he's not good for boxing. But this is Lawrence Cole. Let me introduce y'all to him. For the people that don't know, here we go. Lawrence Cole.
Time right there. Come here. Come on. Come on. You're hot on the UC. You see how many I got.
Called it a no knockdown.
Goodbye, Abraham.
There was a clear shot to the face. The guy clearly went down from a punch, you know, and he seen it. I mean, it wasn't like the punch was so fast that the referee couldn't see it in real time, like Ryan Garcia versus Duarte. That was a clear punch, right? He went down. He called it a no knockdown. What's good, RGL? What's good, boxing fan?
On the head of Andreu, the journalist did not give a reason why he. The pleasant surprise that the little boy was surprised at the little things.
I don't know what the hell the voiceover is talking about. They doing some poetry stuff, but this is some real spill that I'm giving you with Lawrence Cole. Hold on, let me mic. I already mic'd you up, RGM. What's good, RGM?
Come on, I know, don't worry about it. Z Fro Talk J Talk T. Priders of Alsa.
Look at the smile whenever the fighter smiles right here. Whenever the fighter smiles, he gives them a smile back. Like this looks like a movie. Like it almost got the feel that he wanted to help him get up right here. Like he wanted to help him stand up. And when the fighter smiles, the smile. Look at this. Look at that big grin. They both smiling. Come on, this is serious business, referee. What you smiling about? Facts, right here. You complain about a low blow.
New Vok A2's inter.
Now, to be fair, you're supposed to protect yourself at all times. So him complaining about a low blow has nothing to do with the referee. What the referee calls is he's the boss in there. You know, that's call it unfair, whatever the case may be. Referee is the boss at all times. So, you know, I get it. You know, you might think it's unfair, but you know, he is the boss in there. So
Resna Cartina. No, don't play any round. And here and there.
okay, so look, y'all got the idea. Y'all got the idea, right? I don't know if y'all seen this fight before, right? I don't know if y'all seen this fight before, but I remember this fight because Darrell ended up getting hit. I disagree with the voiceover as well, but not about everything. Some things they were spot on about, but like the cheap shots and all that stuff, like that stuff happens. Like I said, the referee's the boss. That's why they tell you protect yourself at all times. You can't be both the fighter and the referee. But I remember this fight specifically because Darrell got hit behind the head and he thought he lost the fight. This is when this referee first came on my radar, right? Because I felt like he piss poor, handling of the situation, But I remember he thought he lost the fight. He's like, man, y'all don't tell me that, man. Like he thought they was trying to give him some words of encouragement, you know what I mean? Like motivational speech. But he thought he lost the fight. That's when this referee came on my radar. And I was young at the point, and still, I didn't even have as much knowledge about boxing as I do now. And I still knew that this was an awful job.
So, why don't we talk about this or not? You're wrong. This is Marco's trademark. There we see him going backwards, moving his legs, but he's actually moving.
Okay, well, I could pause him. I thought he was gonna show. The referee calling it, giving him the fight, which he should have, or ruled a no contest. But he botched that fight, in my opinion. Like he could have been the boss and nipped that stuff in the bud early, but he was just one. He was obviously paid. But the reason why I show you that referee is because, just like how Customato got lightning in the bottle that strike twice, he struck again. What that dude from Waterboy said, oh, we suck again. He sucked again. Look at this right here. And this is recent. This is recent right here. So let me show you. Here we go. So he just refereed a fight, right? And let me mute them. Mute them. So he just refereed a fight, and in the fight, he basically was sucking. He basically was doing him, look like make it obvious, you know what I mean, that he's obviously, on the payroll for somebody. But check this fight out, right? Let me see. Boom, here we go. So the guy ends up getting knocked down early. So here we go. Guy ends up getting knocked down early, right? And the referee, the referee gives him a count. And when I tell you he can't even walk, like he's stumbling, like he is drunk, like he drunk, you know what I mean? He is out of there, right? Like he throws a jab at him. Other dude opens up with telegraphs the right hand. Boom, catches him. To be honest with you, I mean, from a technical standpoint, the fighter that got the break, he didn't really do nothing wrong. Like his right hand is right here. He should win this. The fighter's back is up against the ropes. But to the people listening at home, the young fighters, this is why you get small when you're on the ropes. He's not up high, he's down small, right? And because he's down small, he could catch him with a right hand as well, right? Because he's coming in reckless. He ain't coming in cautious on the ropes. He just thinks he has the superior position. What you do, look, the right hand is right there, right? It technically should get there first. But the other guy gets small, he shrinks himself on the ring, and he throws a right hand. And when I tell you that right hand lands with conviction, it rattles him. Look, bam! Caught him mid-punch, right? Never saw it. Shook him up. You know what I mean? He walks off. He hobbles off, right? Then the referee starts a count. Now look at this. He gets up. There goes Lawrence Cole. I'm surprised he's not smiling like he was in the other clip, right? He gets up, right? And turns and looks. Still got a count. The dude he's not even in the corner. He's not even he didn't even wipe his gloves, did he? He didn't even wipe his gloves or anything. Wipe his gloves. Oh, hold on. You're supposed to wipe his gloves and put them back in the action. I'm getting too excited. Let me stop, right? But the dude is clearly out of there, right? Look, bam. He go into his corner. He go into where the dude is to try to fight automatically. He clearly don't have his wits about him. He has to jump in between them because he hasn't wiped his gloves yet. That's what I meant to say a while ago. He hasn't wiped his gloves yet. So, you know, he like, what, like Lawrence, like, what the hell you doing, man? Hold up. You know, he don't know what to do. He don't know what to do. Look, acting like he's assessing him. Dude is clearly out of there, right? I guarantee you, if this was anybody else, right? If this guy was the favorite and this guy was the person that was supposed to lose, the no-hoper, fight would have been stopped. Check this out. He gets back up and like he goes back into the fight and he's stumbling again. I don't want to show the full footage. Hold on, give me a second. Give me 1 second. So he gets back up, you know, goes back into the fight. He doesn't have his bearings about him and basically damn near tackles the guy, right? Any referee that was competent the fight would have been over. They'd have been like, oh no, this guy can't even stand up straight. He's damn near tackling this guy. You know what I mean? But Lawrence wants this guy to win. So while he's tackling him, got his face inside of his crotch. No diddy. You know, Lawrence comes up and is like, come on, man, get your face out. You're embarrassing me. Get your face out of his crotch. Hold on, let me give you some time. We can't have this. Bro, the dude is getting sexually assaulted in the ring, bro. Let's be honest. Dude getting sexually assaulted in the ring. But look, so Lawrence comes up, stands him up, separates the guy, and then allows him to go right back into punches again, right? Right back into punches. And everybody I ain't gonna say everybody sitting at home because I don't know if a lot of people saw this was his own fight, right? But most people was like, what the hell? Are you gonna stop the fight? Nonito Donaire was commentating. I think he called right before the guy had got shooken up, right? So the whole fight, the whole first round, he tackling him, right? He tackling him. He can't even stand up. And a lot of the punches are not even landing. The punches ain't even landing. And he can't stand up straight. He just tackling the guy. You know what I mean? The guy can't even really get a clean shot on him because he's tackling him, right? So then they get back up, you know, towards the end of the first round. And that dude lands a right hand on him because his hand's way down here and he winding up for punches now, right? And he catches him and knocks him down and then hits him in the back of the head, you know what I mean? And ends up knocking the guy out and stopping him, right? Catching him with the same right hand. And you know what's ironically, guess where he is on, and this is the difference right here. This is why they call it the sweet signs, right? So he ends up catching him. Let's go back. So he ends up catching him with the right hand. Let's go back. Let's break it down to the sweet sign. So here we go. Hold on. Give me a sec. So the punch that he landed a while ago when I showed you, you know, when he was on the ropes, right? This guy, right? His game plan clearly to come in was to land the right hand, right? So look, he throws a jab. He slips his head to his left, and then he catches him winding up and throwing a punch. So this time he catches him in the middle of a punch, right? And then, like I said, after that, the guy's momentum is still going forward, and he ends up catching him in the back of the head, right? Right, which is a very vulnerable area, but that wasn't the fighter being dirty. That was due to the momentum of the punch that the other guy was throwing while he was throwing that punch. But check this out. Check me out. Stay with me. Now, you remember I showed you on the ropes earlier, right? Showed you on the ropes earlier that how he landed the shot because the other guy was coming in reckless and he got on the ropes and he shrunk himself. You know what I mean? Because you're vulnerable for a right hand when you're on the ropes. You ain't got nowhere to go. Your back is literally to the ropes, right? And a lot of people have they panic and they get straight up. But he got low and landed his right hand. This guy was coming in reckless. Now this guy's coming in patient. This is what adjustments look like. You know what I mean? He says, well, I got to put the science in there. This is what adjustments look like. He come in, he patient this time. This time he slips the jab, right? He slips the jab. And then boom, lands the right hand. So he not coming in reckless like he was a while ago. A while ago, he just came in, oh, he on the ropes, let me land his right hand. This time he comes in with an actual jab, and then he's able to land his right hand, right? And he ends up knocking the guy out devastatingly, right? And this is why I mean by fight scoring is subjective and even fight refereeing is subjective. To the people that was in Suarez's corner, they think the referee did a great job. The people in Layton's corner think he did a horrible job, right? Because I'm gonna just be honest with you, the referee's job inside the ring is to protect the fighter from himself. Fighters are gonna fight, most of them, So you do got some in there that are game quitters. For the most part, fighters are gonna fight. It just is what it is, right? They're gonna fight, right? So the referee's job is to save them from themselves, right? And Lawrence Cole being the guy that, if there's ever a Lawrence Cole fight, you would be wise to put your money on the guy who's expected to win, not the underdog. Put your money on them. That Lawrence Cole, I don't know if he's going to these dinners of these promoters or whatever the case may be, but he's definitely in the bag. He's almost for sure as it gets, right? And Lawrence Cole gave this guy the favorite a bunch of time. He recovers, and nobody bats an eye. Maybe it's because they're not heavyweights. Maybe because they didn't make it on the big stage that we seen with Parker and Wardley. I don't know, but the fight should have been stopped. The fight should have been stopped a long time ago. No ifs, ands, buts about it. He should have stopped the fight early on. In my personal opinion, that fight should have been stopped. Guy could not stand up. Forget about throwing punches. He can't even defend punches. He's so drunk. He just tackling the guy in the ring. Just tackling him. Just going. Look, Ray Lewis would have been proud watching this fight. Ray Lewis would have been watching this fight at home like, man, that's some good technique right there. Ray Lewis would have been proud. Man couldn't stand up. So Lawrence Cole is obviously corrupt. Like I said, if he's ever refereeing a fight, just look, and he does a lot of Texas fights. Just look and find a guy that's the favorite, and put money on him, and that's almost as safe money as you can get with Lawrence Cole. And Teddy Atlas, because he's been around boxing a long time and he knows boxing, actually gave the synopsis of why Lawrence Cole was even in the boxing. So here we go.
In the first round, I think when he dropped him, there was 8 seconds left. It seemed like that last 8 seconds lasted another 20 seconds. Just complete pandemonium. Just want to hear your takes. It was a wild scene there.
I don't know what the time was. Was that the time, Bud? Because I didn't see the time clock. Is that accurate? If that's accurate, there was a lot condensed into a short period of time. That's for sure. They should do a commercial on traveling, like get a good travel agent. We can condense a lot of stuff into a short period of time. You wanna do a month's worth of adventures in 2 days? Come to us. We'll get it. And by the way, come to Cole Travel Agency. We will get it done for you. We'll condense it all together. Look, Lawrence Cole, he's been around a long time. He's a veteran referee. And yeah, he reffed all the big fights in Texas because his father was the commissioner, Dickie Cole. Yeah, it wasn't hard to figure out why. And God bless his father. He's not here no more, but he held down that state as the commissioner there for years. His son was obviously put forward to be a top ref. He was his son. And he's been involved in some stuff, but this was for the highlight reel. I mean, this stuff that was up there in real. There's crazy stuff and there's loony bin stuff. This was loony bin stuff. This was more loony bin than just your average crazy night. We had a crazy night, but but then. Kind of like what movie is it? Well, when you start,
So he basically got his job due to nepotism. You know what I mean? I think that's the right word. Maybe I might have slightly used it out of context, but he got his job because of his father. You know what I mean? And that explains a lot. That explains a lot, and that explains why he's still in the sport. You know what I mean? Dad, was somebody in the sport of boxing, and say, hey, this is my son. Y'all treat him right. You know what I mean? Dad no longer here, but son still benefiting off the dad's power in the sport of boxing.
In Las Vegas with Tyson made his debut in the movies? That was a crazy movie. The Hangover. Yeah, when it gets crazy is when you're like, whatever he was doing with the tiger when Tyson got a little crazy. 'Cause that's when it gets crazy. Or when you start wearing somebody else's underwear on your head. That's when you're going to beyond crazy. You're going to Twilight Zone, Looneyville, and this was when he started taking the points away. I mean, first of all, you got Juarez, who's undefeated. Leighton had a few losses, and Juarez is the big favorite. And you got Juarez from Texas, by the way. If you want to figure that in, I don't know, but he's from, and he's.
Teddy, talk about it. Tell them about the corruption. What's good, Angie Bay? Talk about it. You know what's up. Yeah, the heavy favorite. Just like I said.
Walking in with a jab too close. You can't jab too close because you leave a window open. It's like leaving a door open for something to come in. That something happens to be a right hand. I've been saying that for 100 years and teaching that. So you got to jab from a proper distance where you get full extension so you're safe not to get countered with the right hand. You don't leave the door open for the right hand, basically, right? So he comes in, he just comes in, and he throws the jab too close, and the right hand comes over. He doesn't see it. He gets dropped. He gets hurt. He gets dropped twice. And he's trying to survive. What do you do when you try to survive? You hold on. You hold on. Well, Lawrence Cole said no. And I don't know if you want to try to figure out whatever. I mean, I can't go there. You have to go there. But the facts are he took him points away twice. That was unusual to do that quick in that situation. The guy's trying to survive. It's not like he's been grabbing, punching and clutching all night long, disrupting the rhythm of the fight all night long, and you have to take points away at some point. It wasn't that kind of scenario. It hadn't gotten there. It was the first round. So he takes points away twice. What happens in the end, it doesn't matter if that becomes a 10-7 round or whatever the hell it becomes. At that point, all that matters is he gets the time to recover. And he recovered. And give Juarez credit. It reminded me a little bit of Arturo Gatti, who used to recover. His recovery abilities were incredible. The way that Arturo Gatti used to get hurt, and then seconds later, he'd be recovered and he'd be hurting the other guy. It really was incredible, his ability to do that. So, Juarez,
his ability to recover was aided by Lawrence Cole.
I'm talking about Gatti right now. That he reminded me a little bit of Arturo Gatti in that way. But you're right. But he's still recovered.
I like that Teddy Atlas and his son are doing their thing. You know what I mean? Teddy Atlas' son used to be like a recruiter for the Jets. And it's like, bro, go to boxing, bro. Let your dad teach you the ropes and so you could be, you know what I mean, do what Lawrence Cole and his dad did in boxing. But and he makes some good points too as well. He's got a sharp brain. But with all that being said, I forgot that they took a point. I've seen the clip maybe one time. But yeah, that makes perfect sense that he took a point to give for all the excessive clinching to give the guy time to recover. Versus, he's never going to disqualify him. I guarantee you, he never warned him about it, the tackling and stuff. Say, hey man, you do it again, I'm going to disqualify you. It was all about giving that guy, time to recover, and that was the goal, and that's what corruption looks like. I just want you guys to know the difference of what corruption looks like versus what corruption actually is. You know what I mean? What it actually isn't versus what it actually is. That's what I meant to say. So, because a lot of people look at everything and say corruption because they don't get their desired outcome. I don't think there was a fix-in with Joseph Parker. I think people are looking too heavily into that. You think it's a fix-in with Joseph Parker to Wardley? Why would they fix the fight towards Wardley? There's more money with Joseph Parker. He's more established. He got fights against Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua. He's never fought Tyson Fury, but he has ties to Tyson Fury as well. Like he fought what's his name, Dylan White. Like he got some names on his resume. You know what I mean? Joe Joyce. You know what I mean? Then he beat Bacoli and beat Zhang, which is another big guy. So he always, always, always at all times to me would be the favorite going into this fight. What has Wardley done? They thought Wardley was extremely overrated. They criticized his wins. I think Clark even beat him, and they criticized him heavily on that. And then even in the stoppage that he got against Clark, they criticized him for stopping Clark. So coming into this fight was the huge underdog. Why would they fix anything for Wardley? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, so you mean to tell me, and always a good sign of this, a good thermometer of this is if you look at the scorecards. If you look at the scorecards at the moment of the stoppage, that will tell you everything that you need to know about who's the favorite and who the fix is in for. If Canelo would have stopped Bud Crawford in the 10th round, he would have been up on the scorecards too as well, because that's where the fix lies. Let's say he hurt Bud and then start throwing a bunch of shots. You know what I mean? The shots don't land, and the referee jumps in to stop it, and then Canelo's up on the cards. That's what corruption looks like. This wasn't that. This wasn't that, right? They tried to rob Canelo in that fight. They tried to rob Terence Bud Crawford in the Canelo fight. Damn, man, I got to get my words together. This has been happening all episode, right? Need to eat some blueberries. But yeah, that's what corruption looks like. It wasn't like that in the Parker fight. It wasn't like that. They had no reason to give anything to Wardley. But hey, y'all stay tuned, because I want to get into Terence Bud Crawford after I address this. This is an information station, you know what I mean? So I got to educate the boxing world and the boxing fans. But I got some Bud stuff we're going to get to later on. Y'all stay tuned. Stay tuned. You know what I mean? Because there's been a lot of hate out there, and we're going to correct that. I'm not going to allow anybody to hate on Terence Bud Crawford. You know, it is what it is. I picked against him, you know, but, you know, that don't mean I don't accept the facts. The facts are the facts, and something needs to be addressed. So it said Theodore boxing mind is obsolete. Talking that old-ish. Oh, you talking about Teddy? Nah, you tripping, X. He got one of the best boxing minds in sport of boxing. He just ain't focused on boxing right now. He focused on UFC. Because he focused on UFC and his attention ain't here, you can see it in his picks. You can see it in what he says. Like, his focus ain't there. When Teddy Atlas is 100% focused on boxing, man, I'm telling you, X, that dude is the reason why he pisses a lot of people off, X, is because he tells the truth. His version of it, at least. And a lot of people don't like that. They be like, oh man, he had me on ESPN telling me how much he loved me. He talking stuff about, they be whining about Teddy Atlas's opinion, bro. And it's true, but X, this is how you know that they full of it, right? They always watch his show. Bro. If Teddy Atlas takes was so bad, they wouldn't be consuming it. And I ain't talking about the fans, because the fans watch showbiz. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the boxers. He's respected by his contemporaries. That's how you judge if a guy is really good or not. No matter what they say about this man, they still tune in to hear his opinion because they know that he's telling the truth, and they have respect for what he says. They can say all day, oh, I don't like Teddy Atlas, or Teddy Atlas is this, or Teddy Atlas is that. At the end of the day, X, they tune in to watch his show. They tune in. All the people give Teddy Atlas a ton of respect. And the reason, and this is like no fault of Teddy's, I feel like Teddy got kind of a bad start in the boxing because he comes from Customato, and they did the same thing to Customato. They didn't like Customato. They blackballed him. They wouldn't let him, like you know what I mean? They wouldn't let him be taken serious in the sport of boxing and all that stuff. And that's his mentor. So he kind of inherited that by aligning himself with Cuss. You know, because it's the same thing. It's history repeating itself. They don't like Teddy Atlas either. You know what I mean? And but that man know boxing, bro. That's one thing they never say. And the reason why I'm able to recognize it, X, they do the same to me. They do the same to me. In the sport of boxing, they tell you all these bad things about the scholar, but still will show up. You know what I mean? Show up, hit the dislike button, sit right front row to hear what I got to say because they know I know the sport of boxing. They'll say everything they want to say, but not that scholar don't know boxing. You know what I mean? They show back up when I'm wrong about a pick, X, just because it gives them satisfaction. It gives them high self-esteem that he got a pick wrong. When you're to that level about a person's opinion, you probably need to pull up a seat and a pen and paper and learn something and some scrolls. And that's how I feel about Teddy. I feel the same way people feel about me. Boxers watch my channel, quote me, but won't give me a shout out. Won't give me a shout out, X. They won't say, hey man, the boxing scholar, man, I don't disagree with him, but he knowledgeable about the sport of boxing. I just disagree with his takes. Something to that nature. They just take what I say Act like I ain't said it. Act like the boxing world ain't small enough for somebody to run across my picks. What's good, Legacy? And just run with it. So I know how this thing works. I know how the politics of boxing work. So I wouldn't criticize Teddy so heavy. I think Teddy is a great boxing mind. You don't need me to tell you that. It's documented. Like his corner work, his whatever, his knowledge. Like I said, when Teddy walk in the room, and I've seen boxers do this, not live or anything, but like when he's interviewing fighters. Floyd Mayweather, I seen him and Floyd Mayweather for the Manny Pacquiao fight, and he picked Manny Pacquiao. He said he thinks that Freddie Roach will give Manny Pacquiao what he needs game plan wise to beat Floyd Mayweather, because he don't like Freddie Roach. Now I know the story behind those two. He don't like Freddie Roach, but he still give credit where credit is due. And he picked him. And Floyd wasn't even mad. Floyd was smiling up there. He had a tremendous respect for Teddy Allen. Another person, Bernard Hopkins. Now we know Bernard Hopkins knows boxing inside and out, right? Bernard Hopkins, that is Mr. Boxing, right? Bernard Hopkins is another one that gives it up for Teddy. Matter of fact, if you go look at the ESPN commentary, when Bernard Hopkins and Teddy Atlas is commentating next to each other, bro, Teddy Atlas be putting Bernard Hopkins to shame. I'm gonna be honest with you. As far as what he's calling in real-time action, what he knows and stuff like that, is second to none, bro. It's student and teacher. Bernard Hopkins got great respect for Teddy Atlas too. Like I said, these fighters can say what they want. I've been watching and pay attention to them for over the years. But yeah, I don't want to get to the Teddy Atlas ring. I think Teddy Atlas is good for boxing. He said, for a moment I thought that Teddy was live. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Nah, he ain't live. Teddy, it reminds me of a barbecue. Nah, he's not live. But Teddy Atlas, he just got to focus on boxing. He's focused on boxing. I guarantee his takes will get 10 times better. But I want to let me show this. So this is okay. Hold on. So remember I told you about the UK fighters, the UK referees, they stop fights early. Like I said, you don't need me to tell you that. I mean, if you've been watching boxing long enough, you know that it's a common theme of theirs. They always stop fights super duper early. You know what I mean? Very rarely will you get one that lets the fight go on too long, right? But I had to show this for a reason. But check this out. So this is Jack Reiss, right?
I was extremely happy.
Jack Reiss. So Jack Reiss commentated the fight with Deontay Wilder. That's commentated. Refereed the fight with Deontay Wilder, right? And Tyson Fury. Was it 2? No, it was 1. It was 1. The first fight. And in the first fight, Tyson Fury got knocked down by Deontay Wilder. You remember that. Everybody remembers this. And everybody was saying Jack Reiss was corrupt because Jack Reiss didn't make the call they felt he should make. And they don't have no experience in referee. Like you can't make this up. On the internet, you will never find a shortage of experts that don't know anything about boxing. It's the most sickest thing you could ever. Like, they don't have any experience in refereeing. They ain't even looked at the rule book. They just say, hey, I felt like this should happen. And because it didn't happen, it has to be corruption. So the guy who refereed Wardley versus Parker stopped it too soon. Jack Reiss should have stopped it early. Like, you can't make it up. You can't make this up. They have no consistency amongst the way that they're able to look at these situations and say, okay, this situation is like this and it should be like this down the middle. They're all over the place. Jack Reiss should have stopped the Tyson Fury fight early when Tyson Fury was down. Only that Jack Reiss is not only experienced referee, but Jack Reiss worked as an EMT and has experiences that as well. And this is his rationale for not stopping the fight. So here we go.
Everybody know I was a fireman for 31 years with the Los Angeles Fire Department. I was an EMT, emergency medical technician, and I was a captain on a paramedic engine for 20 years. So we went to trauma all the times. Car accidents, shootings, stabbings, beatings. I'm very familiar with trauma, plus being a referee for 21 years. I'm comfortable with trauma, and what I'm really comfortable with is reading body language. So when he went down, that was a devastating shot. He got hit with 2 beautiful shots and fell flat on his back. When I asked Wilder to go to the corner and I picked up the count, when I turned back around, one of the things I instinctually noticed was that Tyson's right foot was up. And it wasn't caught under his left foot. It was up. He was holding it up on his own, which told me he's probably not out if he's holding his foot up. And I was always taught also, count a champion out. Give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, people want to see a definitive ending, count him out. So I scooted in to see what I got. And as I was coming in, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick this up on camera, but Tyson was laying flat on his back. And as I came in, he went like this. So he acknowledged he was awake. He looked at me when I was coming towards him. So then I got in, went over him, so because it was loud. And I got right over him, and I was giving him counting out the numbers, and I was giving him the numbers with my hands at the same time so he wouldn't be confused. 2 things happened. When I got to about 5, her eyes weren't totally open, but when I got to 5, he popped his eyes wide open. So I thought he's back. And then when I started counting, I was thinking, I don't know if he's going to beat the count, but we'll see. You know, stuff like that was going through my head. I just kept counting, and he was up by 9. Right at 9, he was up. I said, "Are you okay?" He looked at me and he said, "Yes." I said, "Do you want to continue?" He looked at me and he said, "Yes." And because of it was a 12th round of a heavyweight fight. These guys were strong men and big men, and the devastating knockdown, I said, "Walk to the right 3 steps and come back to me." And he was in full control of his body. He actually did a little bit of a bounce step and came back to me. And then I just held him, turned to make sure that Wilder was still in his corner and said, "Fight." In the old days, we used to make them walk forward to see how their gait is and if they have full control of their body.
Now this is interesting right here. This is interesting. He talked about the old school referees. He talked about how they used to make the fighters walk forward. But he made a great point that drunk people could just stumble forward. You know what I mean? You could jump off the porch, lose your step, and fall forward. You know what I mean? And regain your balance. But he talked about it's the lateral movement, the side-to-side movement, which they should gauge. That was an interesting and very, very good astute point. This is, you learn stuff. You learn stuff by studying the people that's good. Jack Reiss is one of the best referees in the game. You know what I mean?
But the ringside physicians taught us that any drunk could stagger 2-3 steps forward. You got to make them, to see if they have control of their body, you got to make them walk to the right or left, because it's very hard for them to navigate turning. And that's what we do. And after that, because he had just been knocked down so hard, I closed my distance. I changed my distance and stay a lot closer, because it's normal for the fighter who knocked the other guy down to come in for the kill. And if he can make it out of those next 20 to 30 seconds, that would be great. And that's exactly what Tyson did. He survived those next 20 seconds when...
Okay, so y'all got it. Y'all got it. Y'all stay here with me. Don't let me lose nobody right now. So you got it, right? So Joseph Parker, you know, his fight with Wardley was a fix because it was stopped early. Tyson Fury's fight with Deontay Wilder should have been stopped early, and it wasn't stopped at all. And Tyson Fury got up and won the rest of the round. And people say that was a robbery. Which is it? They both can't be the same thing. One fight that you felt like should have been stopped that wasn't stopped with one punch, you know, was a robbery. But unanswered shots, which is what a referee's supposed to be looking for to protect the fighter, that fight was stopped prematurely. Y'all don't like I say, either y'all don't know enough to have an informed opinion, or y'all just emotionally reacting to these situations. Y'all don't know what y'all are talking about. So yeah, so we have those 2 situations to look for, and the final situation, right? Like I said, this is a information station, right? So here we go. So I'm gonna take y'all back. I'm gonna have to edit this video because I uploaded it and it got some parts in there that it shouldn't have. But for educational purposes, I'm gonna show y'all the entire video. I just edited it out. So to the people that's watching live, you'll get the full lesson plan, whatever the case may be. To the people that ain't watching right now, you know what I mean, you'll be ignorant. No, I'm just playing. You gotta find out yourself. So here we go. So this is Anthony Joshua, right? So Anthony Joshua was having his first state fight in the States. For those who know, right? Eddie Hearns was trying to come to America, break into this American market, and he was gonna use Andy Ruiz to do it, and that was supposed to be his big breaking moment. Andy Ruiz was a game guy at the time. He was really good, fast hands. You know, he was a credible guy. Rather than it was a dangerous fight, especially not having a full camp to prepare for him. I don't know why AJ's people took this fight. It's crazy to me. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. So he took that fight, right? And it was supposed to be his break into the American market, and you know, he ends up getting stopped. Now, most people that seen that fight, because they don't like Anthony Joshua, they say Anthony Joshua quit. This is what they say. This is what the people say. They say Anthony Joshua quit. And it's easy to say Anthony Joshua quit because two reasons. Number one, you're not in the ring taking any of the punches. Everything's safe from the couch, right? Everything looks safe from the couch. But not only are you not taking the punches, but it's easy to like a guy that's not a guy that, you know, from America, or a guy that you might favor, or whatever the case may be. They just don't like Anthony Joshua. And they kept running with the narrative that Anthony Joshua quit. He quit. You know, he quit in the fight. He quit in the fight. You know, and it's like, okay, well, why did he rematch him and beat him? Listen, and this is just me trying to give people perspective. Growing up, have you ever been in a fight with somebody that you were bullied by, or that was the bully, or whatever the case, older than you, bigger and stronger than you, or that beat you up? You don't get back in the ring with that person. Let's be honest. And Anthony Joshua's a human being. He got right back in, immediately rematch with that guy, and outboxed him and took his title back. And everybody stays with the narrative that Anthony Joshua is a quitter, but that's just not true. It's just not true. What's good, Vic? Vic said Fury got a long count. Parker threw punches during that exchange. Both were highly questionable. But you see where the contradiction falls, Vic. You have two examples that are completely different in black and white. There's no gray area. So if Jack Reiss, being an experienced referee, experienced EMT, should have stopped that fight early, well, then the other fight was stopped appropriately. You know, you can make an argument that fight should have been has more credence to get stopped because there were a bunch of unanswered punches, and he was also tired. He was breathing with his mouth open and falling into the ropes, and also he had one eye. What Tyson said, I got one eye. My kids are gonna be scared of me when I go home. He had one eye because of the cut right above his eye, and that's a vulnerable area too. This is why you have fight doctors that will stop a fight themselves because the cut is in a vulnerable area and the blood can get in the eye. Once the blood get into the tear ducts of your eye, that causes like irreversible damage. So they have to keep stuff like that in mind. And he had a cut over his eye, and he was getting punched with unanswered punches that he was not answering to. So, I mean, you could make a case more so that Tyson Fury and Wilder was stopped appropriately because of the results, but this one's more so appropriately. This one's more so appropriately stopped. It's hilarious. Angie said, yes, the boxing scholar growing up. The boxing scholar bully me. I'm waiting to get my leg back. Keep waiting, sister. Keep waiting. You know, as a smart man, I move like Floyd Mayweather. You know, I'm on the A side. You know, everybody want to fight me and get a payday. You know, it is what it is. You know, Floyd Mayweather gonna be Floyd Mayweather regardless. You know, Edge. But yeah, so here we go. So I wanted to show y'all this. So this is Anthony Joshua when he fought when everybody said he quit. So here we go. This is his explanation, and I'm gonna give you an official breakdown because I've never heard nobody break this down like during the fight, after the fight, whatever the case may be. So here you go. Congratulations. You know, that's why y'all should hit that subscribe button. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it's an information station. So here we go.
Yeah. Okay. So I've walked back to the corner and he's counting, and I think he stood in the count. So he's like, walk forward. So I've walked 2 steps forward, and he's holding my belt, and then he's kind of pushed my belt back. So I've put my arms on the ropes. I thought he was gonna put my gum shield in my mouth, or you call your corner over to rinse your. I've been in boxing for a long time.
Now that is listen, I've only heard one other person make this point, and it was Timothy Bradley. I even watched Teddy Ellis's breakdown, and he said that Anthony Joshua quit. We already know Anthony Joshua is not Teddy Ellis is not a huge fan, so he has his biasness when it comes to Anthony Joshua. So when he said that he quit, I was just like, But Timothy Bradley is the only one that caught this in real time. He talked about the mouthpiece, how Anthony Joshua spit it out, and how he was waiting for the referee to give it back to him. I only heard Timothy Bradley make this point. No one else. But I don't. Well, I do consume a lot of boxing content. Let me stop. But yes, he's right. They're supposed to give him the mouthpiece and put it in his mouth and tell him to continue.
And then straight after that situation where he's pushed me back in the corner, he just called off the fight. Yeah. But my gum shield's not in my mouth, so if you haven't put the gum shield in my mouth and asked me if I'm ready to fight, how can you call off a fight when the person isn't fully... Yeah. It's like telling someone he can't fight, but he's only got one glove on. You haven't given him the chance to fight, to call a fight off. And that was the whole point of it, is like, for me, is even though it's an uphill struggle, I'm going to always get up and be in his face. Yeah. Even though I'm struggling, I just wanted to get up and just kind of stay in as long as I could. Yeah. I'd rather have gone out on my back than the referee calling it off, but he has a job to do and we respect that. And that's just how I felt about the stoppages. You should have put the gum shield in my mouth.
Now, okay, my bad. So we're back. So Anthony Joshua spit his mouthpiece out, and everybody who knows that this is a tactic that's done in boxing, right? The people who know, right? It's a tactic that's done in boxing, right? Errol Spence has did it in several of his fights. I had to argue with his fans that didn't know anything about boxing, about him doing it as a tactic, and how he talked about how he got his new teeth in, and that's the reason he did. I'm like, bro, I'm not arguing with people who don't know the sport of boxing. Errol Spence spit the mouthpiece out in the Ugas fight, in every fight, because he was looking for a break. Fighters do this. Referees are aware of this too, right? And Anthony Joshua spit his mouthpiece out, and the referee in the fight was aware of it. But a couple things to note: the referee that's in this fight is a UK referee, even though they were in the States. This is a UK referee, and everybody knows UK referees have a reputation for stopping fights early. They understand that the job of them is to protect the fighter. So if you're fighting and there's ever a UK referee, you remember back in the day they used to say, when you hear Royal Star, you're supposed to fight hard. If you in a fight and you have a UK referee, that's your World Star moment. You're supposed to fight hard. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So here we go, though. So he spits out the mouthpiece right there. You see him? He spits it out knowingly, right? And in this documentary, they were like, oh, Anthony Joshua quit because he spit the mouthpiece out. Even Mike Tyson said it. I'm like, bro, come on, Mike. You know better than that. People say you quit because you bit Holyfield's ear, but that's not true. But here we go. So Anthony Joshua spit it out, and I'm not going to lie. This look right here didn't help. That look right there didn't help, because it was a look of fatigue and exhaustion, but that's what happens whenever you're stalling. You're stalling. You know what I mean? You're like in a spelling bee asking them to use it in a sentence. You're stalling. You're looking for time because you understand that each second counts. Each second is valuable. But here we go. So Anthony Joshua spits it out. The referee starts counting immediately, right?
He's looking for more time.
Excuse me. Referee starts counting and showing him immediately and kind of bending down, telling Anthony Joshua to get up. But like I said, this is a UK referee, and he also, says that Anthony Joshua didn't quit. You know what I mean? So two things to keep in mind. You UK referee, they stop the fights early, and he's aware of this tactic, and he says it. So here we go. Let me see if I speed it up. Will they still let me play it? Hold on. Let me see if I speed it up just a tad bit. Here we go.
He's been down 4 times. Joshua turning to his corner. He's got to be careful here.
He turned his back on me. I picked up his mouthpiece. I don't think in any sense he was quitting the fight. He just wanted those seconds, but the rules don't allow me to give him those seconds.
So there we go. He was aware that Anthony Joshua wanted those seconds, but he said the rules don't allow him to give Anthony Joshua those seconds, which is why he called the fight off. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Take a point. I don't know. Like, yes, you are the boss, and that's your final word is the final say so, but I just don't understand well, look, he was looking for seconds. I can't give him seconds. It's a big fight, so I just called the fight off. What? Like, what? And then he even doubled down on it by saying, well, I don't think he quit. I know he didn't quit. Matter of fact, I'm 100% sure he didn't quit. He just was looking for extra time. I can't give him extra time. So what I did is I called the fight off. That's crazy.
So like my gum shield was out on the floor. Yeah.
Okay. So this is Anthony Joshua explaining it. I put Anthony Joshua explaining it along with the actual footage that you see on the screen. So, and I showed everything that he's talking about. So here we go.
Okay. So I've walked back to the corner and he's counting, and I think he's still in the count. So he's like, walk forward. So I've walked 2 steps forward.
And he's not lying. Anthony Joshua got up, like he went to the corner, he relaxed. Teddy Atlas was saying this relaxed posture was because he was looking to quit. And hearing him explain it and seeing it in real time, it wasn't because he wanted to quit. It was because he was trying to calm himself down, right? He didn't know what to do. I will give people that. I mean, you don't need me to tell you he didn't know what to do, but he's trying to buy time. And the referee's giving him time. What he's supposed to do? Argue, no, give me the gum shield now. No, he's relaxing. Okay, referee, take your time putting the gum shield back in my mouth. And that's what the referee's done. But the referee pushed him back into the corner, because when you pushed him back in the corner, he was supposed to call the corner over, rinse the mouthpiece off, or just pop the mouthpiece back in his mouth. If you're so gung-ho about him not getting these precious seconds and you don't want to give it to him because he spit his mouthpiece out, pop the mouthpiece back in his mouth. You the boss in there. Nobody would have said anything. Pop the mouthpiece back in his mouth, and then because there's a break in the action, and then make him proceed to fight. Whatever the case may be, but he handled this wrong.
And he's holding my belt, and then he's kind of pushed my belt back. So I put my arms on the ropes. I thought he was going to put my gum shield in my mouth, or you call your corner over to rinse it. Yeah. I've been in boxing for a long time. And then straight after that situation, where he's pushed me back in the corner, he just called off the fight. Yeah. But my gum shield's not in my mouth, so...
Yeah, he just called it off. I 100% agree with Anthony Joshua that he shouldn't have called his fight off. He shouldn't have called his fight off. But then again, this is a UK referee. I can't stress it enough. It's a UK referee. And UK referees, they have a reputation for stopping fights early and prematurely because they want to protect the fighters. It's only early and prematurely to the people that's not taking the punches. It's never early and prematurely to the people that is taking the punches. So Anthony Joshua, definitely, to me, in my opinion, that was what an early stoppage looks like. I don't think it was due to corruption. I think it was due to the referee's bad discretion. I think the referee should have gave him more time. You know what I mean? I think according to the rules, or just take a point out away for spitting the mouthpiece out. If you think, take a point, punish him that way. But punishing him by not giving him a chance to finish the fight, you know what I mean? I think it got stopped in the 9th round too, I believe. I don't know. Don't take me on face value. That fight happened a long time ago. But not giving him a chance, I think that was more of a robbery. Joseph Parker didn't have anything left. Joseph Parker was a depleted fighter at the point of the stoppage. He was gone. You know what I mean? It was over. That's Joseph Parker didn't even have Anthony Joshua in his quote unquote quit had more energy to argue with the referee, do interviews afterwards. Joseph Parker walked straight to the locker room. He walked straight to the locker room. He didn't do an in the fight, post-fight interview. He didn't do any of that. And then he he pushed the referee, but he didn't have a whole lot of energy left to even like contest the stoppage. You know what I mean? And it's like I don't know what people want out of boxing, man. I feel like sometimes people watch boxing with the intent to complain in mind. That's what I started to think, because it's like there's nothing that anybody does that's good enough for everybody. They always find a reason to complain. I'll give you let me show you Scholar Davis real quick, right? Tell you what's gonna happen. The people that are complaining about the Jake Paul versus Tank fight, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna complain about the fight, say they're gonna boycott the fight, and then when they get the results of the fight, because they're definitely gonna watch it, they're gonna complain about that too. Boxing fans will complain about something, say they're not gonna watch it, only to watch it to complain about it. You can't make this up. It's nothing they can do. Like these, like I said, these boxing fans are doves, man. I'm gonna start calling them doves. You know what I mean? If you know, you know, Prince song. They're doves, bro. Like they cry all the damn time about everything. There's nothing that anybody can do that's enough, you know. And speaking of complaining, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and end the show with this one. We got Bud Crawford. I told y'all stick around. We was gonna talk about it. Complaining, right? So let me pull up the clip. Give me a sec. By the way, shout out to Bruce Vane. Bruce Vane is my homie on here. He show love, man. He not scared to say he watch a channel. He give it up. He say his real opinion. That is very rare. It's sad that I got to say that on boxing, on a boxing platform, but he gives us out his opinion. He don't sugarcoat anything. He's him. You know what I mean? What you see is what you get. And that's why I love his channel. I don't watch that many boxing channels, but his is one that I definitely consume. You know what I mean? He is a great channel. He has a great channel. I don't agree with everything he says, but he has a great channel. Let me show you why I think his channel is great. So, you know, and he always on it. Anything that happens, you know, that's how I keep up with news, boxing news, current events. Bruce Vane. But look, check this out, right? So there was an interview that was recently done. Well, not an interview. There was a situation that recently done. And shout out to X. X sent me this too. But hold on. It was a situation where Terence Bud Crawford, Bomac called in to Terence Bud Crawford, to the Boxing Voice, and told Ness the Gibbs that he was hating. He told not Ness the Gibbs, he told the other dude. I don't even know what that dude's name. He's like a Tone. Tone is the name. He's like a Showbiz 2.0 in my opinion. So he's like a what do you call it? Tim U version of Showbiz that in my opinion. That chilequiles, all that stuff. That's Taco Tuesday. That's black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's theatrics. You know what I mean? Fart noises and stuff like that, gadgets or whatever. Props is what they call it. They just use a lot of props and play characters. Nothing wrong with that. There's room in boxing for everybody. You know what I mean? But that's what he does, in my opinion. But he did a video. You know, he did a video, and he was talking about. Look, I got to say this too. Nesta Gibbs been hating on. He been hating on Bud. You know, he been hating on Bud. It just is what it is. He been hating on Terence Bud Crawford. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me upload this video real quick. Well, you know what? I don't think I have to do it. Hold on, give me a see. I don't think I have to do that. Hold on. Nope, I ain't putting that up. I think I have a picture I could put on the screen. I'm trying to put something on the screen so that they don't copyright me. Give me 1 second. Okay. So listen, and I picked against Bud. Everybody who know. Like I said, they pull up. They boxing people won't let me forget that I picked it against Terence Bud Crawford. You know, they gonna show up and let me never forget. You know what I mean? That I picked against Bud. It ain't even so much Bud that I was wrong. It gives them a thrill. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start pulling up and I'm gonna start pulling up on my own lives from a burner account and watch and start trolling me for being wrong and see if it gives me pleasure or make me feel good about my life. But yeah. So they pull up, to tell me that I'm wrong, blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. That's neither here nor there. But Ness doesn't like to be wrong. Ness is a huge Canelo fan. It is, it just is what it is. He loves Canelo Alvarez, and I get it, Ness. Canelo was at that point at one time was that guy. It seemed like he got better after the Floyd Mayweather loss. Skills got improved. It was really good, and it's the end of an era, because we know Terence Bud Crawford, even if he got 2 to 3 fights left, he ain't gonna be here past 3 years. And Canelo ain't got much left either, and he showed it in that fight. So it's kind of sad, But Nesta Gibbs did a video, and Chilequiles was on there, and he was saying, I think that he should fight Boots, and they should stop protecting Bud from Boots. Bro, it takes 3 seconds to do your research. You have AI that can look stuff up. You got a bunch of different things that can assist you into finding what you're looking for, right? Not only that, I did a whole episode. I have a whole playlist showing where Boots dug Bud. Boots doesn't want any part of Bud, and that's just the fact, right? So how you ducking a guy that don't even want to fight you? According to him, he's been trying to fight him since 2017, 2018, and he started his career in 2016. He's a liar. We know this. Boxing fans know this, right? We all know this. But, leading up to the fight, I watched Nesta Gibbs videos, and Ness was saying, y'all talking about this, man, get out of here. The Canelo ain't that. And this ain't that situation. He was talking really spicy against Terence Bud Crawford. And I can't blame him. Logic would lead you to believe one way. This is weight classes for a reason. This is physics. This is everything against Terence Bud Crawford, the A's, the shoulder, all of that stuff, the judges in Vegas, all of that stuff leading up. No fights. The struggle with Masvidal, everything against him. I would get why you would pick against Terence Bud Crawford. But the fact is he won the fight. And there's nothing you can do about it. You have to accept reality. Like I'm watching the 5 stages of grief ever since Terence Bud Crawford beat Canelo from everybody. You know what I mean? And it's insane. It's insane. It makes absolutely no sense. But let me show this video real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay. Hold on. My bad. To the people that are watching at home, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put something over the screen and just play the audio. So to give full context, Terence Bud Crawford, trainer Bomac, we all know, right? Called into the boxing voice and was telling Tone that he's not a fan of boxing and that he's a hater. Doves, bro. Listen, y'all start that term, but let everybody know where it came from. Doves. That's what we're gonna call them. We're not calling them decalves. We're not calling them any of that stuff. Straight up doves. They doves, bro. They complain about everything. Angie said, I don't know about the referees. She said, I saw an interview with the ringside physician. They catch a lot of slack when they see life-threatening things that others don't see. That is a fact, Angie. They experts. The boxing fans don't even take time enough to learn the sport of boxing. To be talking about what a referee or a medical expert should do is just absolutely insane, because they talk about a sport that they literally have access to. YouTube is 24 hours, right? There's no limits on it. They could watch boxing and put in the 10,000 hours. They don't even do that, let alone know what a referee or a ringside physician should do. That's insane. So I thought Parker was just letting Wardley wear himself out. No. I'm gonna call you D because I don't know. That's a no Diddy repeating that name. So I'm gonna call you D. But no D. Wasn't letting himself wearing them out. He wasn't roping doping. He couldn't answer shots. Like, why would you? He didn't even have enough energy to clinch at that point. That's when you know a fighter is for sure tired. Whenever they go back to the ropes and lean on the ropes. Wilder Fury too. Remember that? He didn't have nothing left. He was depleted. His bell had got rocked and he didn't have anything left in the reserves. But a good sign is a fighter going back to the ropes and doesn't have the ability to clinch because they're not strong. You have to have a strong foundation to clinch. And they don't have a strong foundation, so they just be all over the place. And even when they try to clinch, the other fighter just throws them, they stumble forward. All of those things was happening with Joseph Parker. He didn't have anything left, and he couldn't see the shots. And he was a bigger guy for that fight. Nobody talks about the weight. Joseph Parker's weight has consistently went up since when he left the sport of boxing, he ballooned up and it was fat. Then, in my guess, I think he left and started using PEDs, and the weight fat started turning into muscle, explosive muscle at that, past the age of 30, right? And his weight has continued to go up, and his muscle mass has continued to grow up since his loss to Joe Joyce. Nobody talks about this. For the fight with what's his name? Bercoli. Bercoli came in fat, but Joseph Parker's weight wasn't that far off from Bercoli's. And his was muscle, explosive muscle. But that's neither here nor there. He didn't have anything left. You know, he was fatigued, and so was Wardley. But Wardley was willing to die in the ring. That's the difference. Joseph Parker, I'm going to be honest with you. To the people that are mad at Joseph Parker losing the fight, I'm going to tell you this. That's a good thing. And I told you this once before. When Daniel Dubois and Usyk fought, y'all remember that? Daniel Dubois and Usyk fought. Daniel Dubois, Daniel Dubois fought in a slippery ring, right? And I never gave Daniel Dubois slack for this because Usyk and Daniel Dubois was fighting at the same disadvantage. Daniel Dubois hurt him with a body shot in the same slippery ring that Usyk was in. So I couldn't take away from Daniel Dubois to give to Usyk, right? But in that fight, Daniel Dubois ended up flopping and throwing himself to the ground later on in the fight, right? And what I told everybody, and they were shocked to hear me say this because a lot of people know I know the sport of boxing. They was like, Scholar, what? But I told them that Daniel Dubois did boxing a favor by flopping to the ground, and that Usyk didn't rob Daniel Dubois per se, but even if they did, he deserved it. It's a championship fight, and he flops to the ground and doesn't get up and try to win, and then runs with the excuse, well, I really hurt him with a body shot and the fight should have been stopped. Well, why didn't you hurt him with the shot again? It was still available, but he never pulled it off. He did not deserve to be champion. Neither one of these are champion, but they're going to go fight Usyk. Would you want Joseph Parker coming off of that performance to go fight Usyk? Joseph Parker, a guy who was stopped and brutally knocked out by the juggernaut, Joe Joyce. You know what I mean? Would you really want that guy that like I said, pull on that performance against Wardley, a guy with way less experience to him, to go on to fight for the championship? What do you guys think Usyk's gonna do to him if he's not mentally right? You remember when he fought Dylan White? Dylan White, I just knew Joseph Parker was gonna win the fight against Dylan White. Dylan White beat Joseph Parker in a firefight. Joseph Parker does not have it mentally in a firefight. If he cannot land on you, if you start boxing him, he gets stuck watching what you're doing and will not engage, will not be first, will become lackadaisical in the ring. That guy does not deserve a championship shot, in my personal opinion. So even if you felt like the decision was a robbery or whatever the case may be, boxing finally, they got it right that night. The referee seemed to cut up in a vulnerable area, right? He wasn't answering shots. He was fatigued, and it was a UK referee. They got the right fighter won. And if they do a rematch, I'm willing to bet that Joseph Parker will lose in worse fashion in a rematch. The same way that what's my man's name? I always forget his name. What's the UK guy's name, man? Golly. Oh man. The UK guy that Usyk knocked out, that Wilder was supposed to fight. Well, anyway, that guy, I always forget this guy's name, man. It really bugs me too, because I know his face, but he played in Creed, but he fought. Let me get his name because it's gonna bug me. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. It's gonna bug me if I do not get this name. It's gonna, and it, to me, it hurts my point. So let me go back. Tony Bellew, golly. Why do I always forget Tony Bellew's name? Tony Bellew fought David Haye. David Haye was the bigger guy, thought seismic everything. He's another one that did exactly what Joseph Parker did. He lost against Klitschko, and became so obsessed with size because he was coming up from a smaller weight that he sacrificed his speed, which was the thing that made him special at heavyweight. He got devastating knockouts using his speed. He even got a clip of him hurting Wilder on the internet due to that same speed that I'm talking about, right? But he ends up giving it up because he becomes so obsessed with size. Like I said before, Deontay Wilder did it in Tyson Fury fight, the third one. So obsessed with size, they go bulk up and lift all these weights and stuff and lose their advantage. Because like I said, Tyson Fury gets hit with that shot with Deontay Wilder at 209, he might not get up. That shot's way faster than what it ended up being. It was still hard because remember the ripples going down Tyson Fury's back, but it was slower because of the bulk that he put on. And David Haye made the same mistake again, coming back against Tony Bellew. He gets stopped the first time. He says a leg injury, comes back the second time and gets stopped in a worse fashion. That's what happens to Joseph Parker. He's the same. He has the same mindset as David Haye. They have a lot of similarities in their styles. Even that right hand that they loop, they have a lot of comparable stats and attributes. They are the same fighter to me mentally. Remember when David Haye fought Klitschko and he blamed it on a foot injury? I can see Joseph Parker doing something similar to that, but Joseph Parker doesn't deserve to win. I say all that to say he doesn't deserve to win. And a rematch with Wardley, I think he gets even furtherly exposed, and just like he did with Dylan White. Firefights, he comes up short. But it is what it is. So, I got kind of distracted. So, back to the Bud stuff. I've read y'all comments. Y'all threw me off, man. He said, I thought Parker and Wardley had moments when we thought it was over. He said, I ain't watching it. He said, I'll read about it in the paper. He said, Bruce, the truth, that's a fact, bro. And he said, Tone, he said, TBV has become a S show. It's show. He said, Ness is so far up Canelo's butt, it's ridiculous. That is a fact, bro. That is an absolute fact. He said, Jesus Christ, scholar. He said, Joshua, you don't even know the fighters' names. You are obviously wrong, guy. Bro, ain't nobody talking about Joshua, bro. What do you... Anyway. Clearly somebody looking for moments and purpose. And you put laughing emoji. He said, Canelo had training wheels on for a decade. He said, that's why people skipped over. Where Jay Bliss at? I don't see Jay Bliss. Jay Bliss here, Angie? I don't see him. Said, I thought you were about to start rapping, but it was an echo. That's hilarious. Drink up in my cup, man, hold up. He said that fight was so back and forth. They deserve to go out on their shields. I disagree with you, Vic. I disagree with you, brother. I think in a fight that's back and forth, what's good, Stormy? In a fight that's back and forth, bro, the fighter that shows initiative wins. The fighter that has that level. I'll give you an example. Not Arturo Gatti. Well, you could do Arturo Gatti Ward, but that wouldn't be a great one. Alexis Arguello and Aaron Pryor. And Aaron Pryor had that next level, whatever. Give me the stuff, the what I mix. If it was the stuff or whatever it was, that X factor, he threw more punches and he deserved to win the fight. Wardley was still throwing punches when the referee stopped it. He was prepared. He could sense that Joseph Parker wanted to quit in the ring. We talked about Anthony Joshua and him possibly quitting. He quit in the ring on that day, Joseph Parker. He know that the referee was getting ready to stop it. Anytime the referee gets close and it's not the end of the round, he's thinking about stopping the fight. You know what I mean? Like, that's not rocket science. And he knew it was unanswered. The referee gives him instructions in the back of the dressing room about specific situations like that. So, if he stopped if he stopped the what you call it, if he stopped the fight, he told him what he was looking for before he stopped the fight in the dressing room. So it's up to him to take the initiative to not get stopped. Said the Walls probably doesn't deserve to be champion because of his heart. He said, I just don't think that's how fights should be decided. I feel you on that, Vic, but listen, man, that championship belt means a lot. It done been worn by the greatest men to ever walk the earth. And I just Daniel Dubois doesn't deserve to be the realm of mentioning with them, and he just doesn't deserve it. So I just no, he doesn't deserve the belt, man. He doesn't deserve it, you know. And do they deserve to be robbed? But no. But if they're given a situation where they have a chance to prove themselves to either be a champion or a bust, and they prove themselves to be a bust, I can't complain about that either. Like I said, Daniel Dubois could have answered with another shot. Another body shot. You landed it once again, landed one more time. But he didn't do it. He just flopped. He flopped to the ground. And you know what I mean? He put on a good performative act and then said scream robbery. And that's the same thing Joseph Parker's doing. It's like, wait a minute, Joseph Parker, when you had control inside the ring, where you could control stuff, where you have two fists and you've trained for this moment, the fight wasn't a surprise. You prepared for it. You didn't go out there and do what you had to do. You didn't answer back with shots. You didn't even clinch the man. You know what I mean? At least the guy that I showed earlier, Suarez was tackling the guy, showing something. He was trying to clinch, tackling the guy. He was surviving. He just went back and retreated to the ropes and didn't do anything. So of course they're gonna stop the fight. It looks like you're helpless. I said, no, man. Parker had a lot of good moments against Wardley. I disagree with that. I felt like Parker was the favorite, and a lot of people was paying attention to what Parker was doing versus what Wardley was doing. Defense is one of the criteria for scoring a fight and ring generalship. Out of the two, Wardley controlled a lot of the fight. It was a lot of things in there that people didn't know that he noticed he was doing. For instance, there was a time where Wardley was on the ropes, right? Referee jumped in between them. Wardley grabbed the referee, created space, pushed the referee in front of Parker, created space, pivoted to the back of to the center of the ring, and made the fight go back to the center of the ring. It was things he was doing in there. Like there was a time where Parker threw 4 punches because Parker got tired of not landing the right. The game plan was to land the right hand because Wardley lays to his right slightly, and then he even dips to his right. You know, so he landed it in the first round. The second round even too. And wobbled him a couple times, but he couldn't maintain it because Wardley started adjusting to it. He started changing levels. He started smothering. He started doing smart things in there to where he wasn't getting hit with that shot, and Parker never made an adjustment. And then when he finally did try to make an adjustment, I think it was like the 5th round, or maybe 6th round, where he threw like a 4-punch combination. He even threw triple left hooks to try to get Wardley head up so he could land the right hand, and it didn't work. You know, and you look at the highlights, he threw 4 punches. Wardley blocked every single one of those punches. And defense is part of the scoring criteria. They had Wardley probably winning like 2 rounds out of the fight until it was stopped. That's just not true. What fight were they watching? And like I said, people think that Wardley was the one that got the robbery. Joseph Parker was well on his way to robbing Wardley out of a decision the same way he did Zhilei Zhang, if we're going to talk about it, to be honest. Same way he did Zhilei Zhang. Zhilei Zhang knocked Joseph Parker down and was dominating him throughout the entire fight and lost by a wide margin when the fight was over. And it's like, wait a minute. What? They robbed Zhilei Zhang when the Joseph Parker fight. And they were well on robbing Wardley in the Joseph Parker fight, but Wardley just took matters into his own hands. Zhang should have did that, but he didn't. Stormy said, hey, the box scholar just stopped us by the social support and jump back in the bushes. What's good, Stormy? Stormy said, what's good, Angie? Don't speak to her, Stormy. She still owed me money. Said, Mayweather beat John Gotti the third already. What? Yeah, you definitely trolling. It said, Jay Bliss used the say hi button. What's good, Jay Bliss? Yeah, I can't see it from the StreamYard. Yeah, I was like, what the hell did I like? Did I accidentally block Jay Bliss? Did Jay Bliss block me? But yeah, what's good, Jay Bliss? Jay Bliss, the homie. But yeah, so back to this. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, so let me show this. I'm gonna show this, and we're gonna get up out of here. So I got something on the screen. I'm gonna just show it. It is what it is. I'm gonna just show it. I ain't finna put that on the screen. I just edited it out because it's my homie Bruce. video. I don't think he'll say anything. But so here we go. Give me a sec. So the doves, they always crying, right? Always crying, right? And this is another video of the doves crying, right? So, like I said, next to Gibbs in the boxing voice, he's good, bro. He's good. He's really good at commentating. He's good with his words, good at articulating himself. You know what I mean? Ness is really good at a lot of different things, you know. And he has a great channel. You know, it's the voice. He does a lot of things I disagree with. You know what I mean? But it's his show, and he can run it how he wants to. That's why I have my show. That's why he has his show. You know, but the Canelo love can overshadow his rationale. You know, and I feel like in this situation, that's what it's doing. Because I seen a video where Tone was talking about why is everybody trying to protect Bud, and you just face palm because you'd be like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, protect Bud? Were people trying to protect Canelo whenever Benavidez was calling him out? Because Benavidez has been calling him out for years. And here's the craziest part about that, right? Benavidez has been calling out Canelo for years and never got the fight. The moment Terence Bud Crawford won, 3 days later, boxing channels were calling for Bud to fight Benavidez. And you're like, you got to be shitting me. You want Terence Bud Crawford, who just got to the division, to fight the guy that Canelo has, that we've been begging the Canelo to fight for like 3 to 4 years? You can't make this up. Why are you putting urgency on Bud Crawford to do something that you didn't put urgency on Canelo to do? And Bud is the older fighter that you picked against. You can't make this up. You can't make this level of hypocrisy runs deep. These doves, we're going to call them doves from now on. These doves, man, they got to be stopped. They always making dove noises. You know what I mean? Always crying. You know, and it is what it is. But Ness has been on the same side as Tone when it regards to this. So Bomac called in, and Bomac checked stuff. So here we go.
You no boxing fan. You's a straight hater. You a straight hater. You ain't no boxing fan. You's a straight hater.
And he not lying. Straight hater. It is obvious he's a hater because he don't give it up. See, people that watch my channel think that I'm a Bud hater. But if you watch my videos, you will see a catalog of me criticizing Bud when I felt like he need criticism and giving him a ton of praise, calling him the best fighter we've seen in 30 years. It's documented. I don't take videos down. You know what I mean? Like, it's documented how I feel about Terence Bud Crawford. But I'm not a yes man. I'm not a yes man to my friends. I'm not a yes man to my mama. Why would I be a yes man to anybody? You know what I mean? People need to be criticized. Nobody's above criticism, including myself. If I'm wrong, somebody should be able to tell me wrong. I'm wrong in a situation. So when Terence Bud Crawford is wrong, I tell him. I won't tell him. I don't personally know him. But I say that on my channel. But when he's right, I say that too. And when I'm wrong, I say that. I picked against Terence Bud Crawford. I knew better than to do that. Terence Bud Crawford's that guy. And I've been saying it for what, 7 years? No. 5 years? I don't know. I've been saying it for a long time. You know, just physics and all this stuff that he has so much against him. I was like, yeah, I don't see, even if he won a fair fight, I don't see the judges giving it to him. But the judges even had to bear witness. We are living in Terence Bud Crawford's dream, and everybody just got to accept that, you know. And I feel like Ness and Tone don't want to accept that. So Bomac had to do some checking. So here we go.
I'm sad because y'all don't want to fight Boots. I'm sad because y'all ducking Boots. How am I sad because y'all ducking Boots?
Him ducking Boots is absolutely insane. It's insane. He ain't ducking no Boots. He ain't ducking no Boots, man. Boots. Oh man, I've did this so many times. I have a playlist where I talked about Boots not wanting any parts of Terence Bud Crawford. Wouldn't even say the man's name. And when he's on Gillian Wallow's show, because they from Philly, and he got to say something. The something that he say is clearly a lie. He been trying to fight him since 2017. When he started his career in 2016. Nobody even knew who Boots was in 2017. Boots is a straight up liar. You know what I mean? The fact that Boots just fought a can in front of the world and is telling people, I'm going to fight all the top guys. Well, who you going to fight? I'm going to try to make that fight with Virgil. Bro, you're going to accept a fight that was already offered to you? So you know what's going to happen with that fight? After Virgil beats Lubin, he's going to make an excuse to not fight him. Price himself out. Same thing he did with Brian Norman Jr. Boots is consistent at telling everybody nobody wants to fight me, but everybody's calling his name. Brian Norman Jr. Everybody's calling Boots' name at every division he goes into. 54 people calling him out. Jermell calling him out. Everybody calling Boots out, but he wants to portray himself to be this monster that he's not. So what he's going to try to portray is that nobody wants to fight him, and even when they do want to fight him, they're not serious about it. But Bud ducking Boots is hysterical. Oh my God, it's so hysterical.
You said that I don't like, oh, Bud, get him at the right time, or Bud, get him at the right time. Well, come on, man. It's about who available.
You said he fight.
So that Bud gets the fighters at the right time, to me, is the most insane thing I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Bud getting them at the right time is funny to me too, because isn't that the criticism everybody makes of Mayweather? That Mayweather really fought nobody, and a lot of fighters that he fought was well past their primes. Isn't that literally the same argument that they make? But people will show up and tell you like, hey, no, that's not true. That's not true. So why is it true about Bud? Bro, appreciate Michael Jordan while he's still playing. I've seen this happen before when I was a kid. Michael Jordan was winning so much, people hated Michael Jordan. Now that he's gone, they hang on his every word. Those are the same people that are celebrating now that Michael Jordan is joining NBC and talking about basketball. The same people that hated him whenever he played basketball. It's the same thing with Terence Bud Crawford. When Terence Bud Crawford leaves the game, you guys are going to miss him. You're going to miss him. You're going to miss what he was to the game, and that you got to see this level of dominance and never been defeated in the ring. So here we go.
Who available? Jerome Boots Ennis available?
How many times Bud done told y'all Boots and turned the fight down? Why you want to go back? Why is Bud got to go?
Oh, and I got to give Bud a lot of credit for this. This is how you know Bud is really a monster. That's how you know Bud's really a monster. He moved like one. You look at Shakur, right? Shakur, Boots, and Jared Anderson. Those are people that I put into one box. I see the same thing out of them mentally. I can see it, right? The mental lapses, the wanting to look like a monster, not really be one. I can see it. Bud, when he tries to make fights happen and they don't materialize, he never comes forward and says, this guy ducked me. He's never done that. And nobody wants to fight him. Listen, bro, if Benavidez fought him, he would be a huge underdog in that fight. But Benavidez don't even want no parts of him. Benavidez is talking about, well, you know, I'm here at 75. I'm going to get undisputed. I respect Terence Bud Crawford. He's the best fighter on earth. He said this, right? He's pound for pound number one. This is what he's saying. Now, that take you down memory lane. He uppercutted his brother and put his brother's head in Benavidez's lap. Benavidez has laid bear witness to Bud in prime form. Focus on your fight for you not make it to your fight. He was there for all of that stuff. And then dominated the guy that everybody made Benavidez a 50-50 fight with, which is Canelo. You know, Benavidez don't want no parts of him. He said he wouldn't even go down there for I think the person said 160 million, something crazy. And he said, no, I wouldn't do it. You wouldn't even consider it. When Canelo was at 68, you never ruled out that fight. But when Terence Bud Crawford, you don't want no parts of it. That just go to show you, man, the type of guy that Terence Bud Crawford is. You can listen, and you always judge a man in boxing off of how his contemporaries respect him, regardless of what they say. Same thing with Teddy Atlas. They talk stuff about Teddy Atlas, but they tune in the contemporaries, the trainers, the fighters, to see what he got to say because they know he know boxing. You know what I mean? Terence Bud Crawford's contemporaries say whatever they want about him, except for let's fight for any amount of money. They know that they will get embarrassed. That guy's a real monster. I don't care what anybody tells you. You listen to me when I tell you. If you don't listen to nothing else I say today, take that as word. Put that on the scroll. I'm the scholar.
Go back and go.
I want Bud Crawford to complete the Mayweather trifecta and give a hungry young lion an opportunity.
Bud got to.
Now let me stop it right there. This is one thing that we got to stop using in boxing. That term is so overused. Young, hungry lion. So everybody a lion, right? Jermell Charlo promotion is lions only. And we seen him behave like a kitten or a cub inside the ring. We was all there for that. That's not ancient history. He quit. He was a game quitter against Canelo. He never tried to win. That man's called. Not everybody in boxing is a young, hungry lion. Stop using that. Boots wants no parts of Terence Bud Crawford. We couldn't pay Boots $100 million to write Bud's name and say it 5 times in the mirror in fear that Bud will pop up and actually try to fight him. Boots wants no parts of Terence Bud Crawford. Y'all got to stop. We got to stop. We got to stop saying a young, hungry lion. That term is getting on my nerves. Boots is the furthest thing from a young, hungry lion. That man is 10 years in his career, has fought absolutely nobody. And then we'll give you the glimmer of hope of, hey, I might fight Virgil. The fight was already offered and you turned it down. Why you want us to get excited about a fight that you already turned down? Boots is not that guy. He's not that guy. And then why like I said, why the urgency? And this is really what I'm hearing. I'm hearing what they're really saying. This is what they're saying. They're saying that, hey, you beat Canelo. I picked against you to beat Canelo, right? And you beat him anyway. But I think that Boots could beat you. Fight the other guy that I think you could beat. Because I thought Canelo could beat you and he couldn't do it. Now fight Joe Smoke because I think he could beat you. And if you fight him, if he goes in there and dominates Boots, which that fight doesn't represent anything, generate the money, Boxing Voice, for the money. Find some promoters. Yeah, Turkey Al-Rashid on there. Interview him again and see if you can get $200 million for that fight. Because if I'm Terence Crawford, I don't take that fight either. Like, I already know I could beat Boots. What do I get out of it? Like, Boots is nobody at 54. He ain't even fought tough guys. He ain't fought nobody in this point of his career. So why would I fight him for what? For y'all? Because y'all want to see me fight him? Y'all wanted to see me fight Canelo too, and you picked against me. And guess who got beat? Canelo. So I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But yeah, man, Boots, Bud ain't ducking no Boots, man. I think that is probably the most laughable statement I've ever heard of in my life. You think the guy who went up 3 weight classes, older, never fought at the weight class, struggled against Masvidal, all the stuff that y'all were saying, you think that, and fought Canelo, you think that guy is scared of Boots? The closest that Boots would get to Canelo and fighting Canelo is sparring Canelo to help him get ready to beat a guy who y'all say he's ducking. That's the closest that Boots would get to a Canelo fight. Hey, Canelo, I helped you get ready for Bud because I'm a switch hitter, and I want you to get ready for a switch hitter so that you can go in there and be prepared for him so you can beat him. I'm going to help you beat the guy that they say I'm ducking. That's crazy work, man. That is crazy work.
Point to where he can do what he want to do. He can do what he want to do. He can fight who he want to fight. He can go fight fucking.
Hold on. And then I want to address this too. He said the Mayweather trifecta of giving a young, hungry lion a fight. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Mayweather vacate a title because he didn't want to fight Keith Thurman? The same Keith Thurman that Manny Pacquiao 4 to 5 years later would go on to beat. Didn't Mayweather duck that guy? So what is he talking about, the Mayweather trifecta? What is he talking about? Mayweather was 36 years old whenever he fought Canelo. Bud was 38 and moved up 3 weight. What is he? What are they, bro? It's like, are they? It's really frustrating to me because are they intentionally doing this? Is this for clicks and likes, or are they just really that ignorant? Because I can't take ignorance, and that's what I'm looking at. I can't take it. I can't take it. It's so stressful to me.
He could go fight your ass next week and still get paid.
Y'all turn into the very thing that y'all hate. Y'all turn into the very thing that y'all hate.
And then when he say y'all turn into the very thing y'all hate, Ness nods and start giving a thumbs up. I think Ness might have texted him to say that. Let me rewind that. I think Ness might have sent him a text message. Hey man, tell him this. Let's do good cop, bad cop. Because it looked like maybe he focused on the chat.
Thing that y'all hate. When Bud Crawford was on the lower scale, y'all was saying, oh, they doing Bud wrong. Now that y'all at the top, y'all doing the same shit that y'all hate.
What else, Bud?
He said that y'all are turning into the thing that y'all hate. When y'all were down low, y'all was saying that nobody want to give y'all a shot, but now y'all up high. You don't want to give nobody else a shot, bro. Do you realize you kind of making the point for why Terence Bud Crawford shouldn't fight Boots? Don't even realize it. So slow, he don't even realize it, right? He's on top. You just said it. He worked his way to get on top. Nobody gave him anything. Nobody gave him anything. Nobody gave him anything they wouldn't give him a shot. He had lawsuits with promoters saying he's supposed to promote himself. He done went through all of this ringer, and then now he at the top of boxing, pound for pound #1, and he's getting the highest payday. That, and you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. That's rare. That is rare. Rarely will you see in the sport of boxing the pound for pound #1 fighter making the hugest paydays in the sport of boxing. They normally don't go hand in hand. Normally you see a really skillful guy, Chocolatito, whatever the case may be, and they don't get paid like their skills are. But Bud done defied all odds, and he's the guy now. And what they're saying is, you're at the top of the mountain. You should fight who I want you to fight. Because Mayweather did it. Bad example to use, and stupid to acknowledge that the man is at the top of the mountain, and then skip over what Bo Mack said. Bud is 38 years old. 38 in boxing, been boxing since she was 9 years old, is equivalent to being 50. I'm not just making that up. Go look at what doctors say about fighters' brains. That's why CTE is a real thing. Go look at what they say with their brains. Their bodies be physically good, but their brains be messed up because of all the abuse, constant abuse they took year after year after year after year, punching on the brain while it's developing at 9 years old. Bud is 38 years old. What do you want to see him do? Then when he fights Boots, you're going to be like, all right, you beat Boots, but you got to give another young, hungry lion a chance. Go fight Anthony Joshua because you want to see him lose. That's what's at the heart of this. Y'all, you talk about Bud turning into what he despised. Y'all are turning into what y'all used to despise. Because when Mayweather was out there and was telling everybody that, y'all just want to see me lose, but this guy's playing, I'm never going to lose. I'm never going to lose. This guy's playing for me to keep winning. Y'all was over there cheering for Floyd Mayweather. Y'all was saying Floyd Mayweather is the man and he's this, he's special. People want to see him lose. Y'all have turned into what y'all despise and y'all want to see Bud lose. It's just simple as that. What's good, Mosaic? It's obvious to me.
What got to prove in this game? What else do we got to prove in this game?
A hungry young lion?
He asked that man, what does he got to prove in this game? He said, a hungry young lion. That doesn't even make. What does he have to prove? A hungry young lion. So are you saying that he has to prove that he's a young hungry lion? Oh my God, bro. Listen, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. The reason I do non-boxing content is because I have a large following of non-boxing people that just love to chop it up with me or whatever the case may be about all subjects because they respect my viewpoint and they just like genuine conversations. But a lot of times I take break from boxing because people in boxing are so stupid that like I would lose IQ points if I keep just being this outrage. I will walk around with my blood pressure on 1,000 at all times because, like I said, I don't know if they're saying this to cause controversy or if they really don't know what they're talking about, or a combination of both. But it's sad.
Him. He didn't gave all those guys. Who? He gave those guys the opportunity.
See that Bomac even started coughing. The same level of intensity that I have right now, Bomac has it because it's like, bro, what are you like? This is silly. You got to constantly tune in to hear this garbage. It's pure garbage.
20, but those guys pass it up. Boots had his chance. Boot had his chance to make some good money. Had his chance. He had his chance. The hell with.
So when Boots was in line to fight Terence Bud Crawford for his belt, right, and could have forced the fight, and then elected to get out of that ranking system to go to the IBF, which was Errol Spence. Was he ducking a old hungry lion then? Because that was a Bud that hadn't fought Errol Spence yet. Was he ducking him then? Why Ness and them wasn't calling Boots out on that? Why they didn't have Bozy Ennis calling up to the radio station giving these type of arguments in defense of Boots? Like this is, like I said, bro, this is crazy.
Coach, didn't Earl spin the block again? Didn't Earl spin the block again?
Like Ness is over there just doing facial expressions, bro. Yo, Ness over there instigating with his facial expressions, bro. That's hilarious. And I'm pretty sure he texted them too as well. We all do that. I text people on time online when I hear something funny or whatever the case may be. Everybody does it, so that's how I know he's doing it. But yeah, he over there instigating with his facial expression. But he like, didn't Earl spin the block? Listen. I have a really great memory, right? But I'd be wrong sometimes. But y'all correct me if I'm wrong on this. I can remember Errol Spence and Terence Bud Crawford falling out of negotiations, right? And when they fell out of negotiations, they elected to talk to each other outside of boxing promoters. So Errol Spence didn't spin the block on him. In my opinion, they spun the block on each other and said, "Hey, let's make this fight happen for everybody's sake." That's what I remember happening, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know everything. You know, I do know a lot. I don't know everything.
The block again? Then Earl spin the
With
block
who?
again? With Bud.
With who? Who he spin the block with? Who he spin the block with?
With Bud.
Bud walked up to him and challenged him. What are you talking about?
See, they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't even know the timeline he's talking about. There was a time where Errol Spence was saying, you know, of course I took the easy route on this side of the road, and I want to collect all the belts over here on PBC first. That was a time where Errol Spence was saying all this stuff, and then backstage, Terence Bud Crawford ran up on him. They're not even acknowledging that. They're not even acknowledging the full timeline of Errol Spence versus Bud, which took 5 years to make. It wasn't just they were supposed to fight. They didn't fight. Errol Spence spent the block on them. It wasn't that. As a matter of fact, like, and this is why I say it take a little research. Y'all spend so much time making boxing content. Do y'all go consume and do the research independently? Or are you too big for that now? Because Terence Bud Crawford talked about this fight. He talked about before the fight how he had basically like given up hope on boxing. He basically was like, yeah, you know, I'm not gonna get this fight. He was having promotional issues and stuff, and he was all but he had 1 foot in retirement, 1 foot in the gym, and then through the grace of God, a little prayer, meditation, vision boards, etc., he got exactly what he was looking for. Errol Spence called him. They did not lead. Well, the negotiations fell out. Then they got rid of the middlemen, talked to each other, established a fight between the two, and history was made. But that wasn't Errol Spence spinning the block. That was both fighters mutually. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
About Bud walked up to him and challenged him and said, "I want you." What are you talking about, brother?
But Bomac, he talking about when Bud specifically walked away and went to fight Avanesian.
Nobody gave him that. Nobody gave him that.
Well, wait a minute. Wouldn't that be Bud spinning the block? If Bud left negotiations and then came back to Errol Spence, wouldn't that be? You know what this was reminding me of? You remember when they were doing the press conference? You know, it was one of the final press conferences. What's good, Rob G? One of the final press conferences that we had, right? You remember Terence Bud Crawford was in Errol Spence's face. And Errol Spence was like, "You won't thank me for making this fight?" And Bud's like, "What? We both made this fight." And he was like, "Yeah, for sure. We finna get historical payday." And they shook hands. He acknowledged then that they both made the fight. What is like, this is the stupid, oh my God. This is so dumb, bro. Because I heard this argument before the fight. But Spence fans was saying Bud should be happy that Spence spun the block and gave the fight to him and made the fight happen. They was giving Errol Spence participation trophy for making the fight happen. I remember this in real time. They were doing this, and it didn't make any sense then, and it's not making any sense now. They spinning the block on an old argument that was debunked a long time ago. All of this rather than Ness just say, "Look, man, it's over for Canelo." Ness is going through the 5 stages of grief of Canelo not being able to box anymore, of him slipping so far that, I mean, the Ryder fight showed you all this. You know what I mean? And they are going through the stages of grief. Focus on Canelo. You know, Ness, you big enough. Give Eddie Hearns, you even speak Spanish, you bilingual. Give Eddie Reynoso a call and talk to Canelo and get it out. Vent. Get it out, because what is coming off is, because you keeping it bottled up, is hate for Bud Crawford. And he ain't did nothing but beat every guy that's in front of him. It's crazy.
You tell anybody else that wants to fight Bud, you get in fucking line. You earn your fucking shot, whatever the case gotta be.
But Canelo gave him a shot, champ.
And then he go with that argument. Well, you know, Bomac is saying, you tell everybody who want to fight Bud, get in line, because Bud was in that line begging for fights, and y'all told him, nah. Now that he at the top of the mountain, now y'all want to come full circle. Even Fundora was like, "Hey, Bud, remember, I was just bullshitting, Bud. Hey, man, Bud, you want to fight, man? Come on, man. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Now that he see Turkey Al-Rashid involved and that money's involved, now he done spun the block, you know. And then next goes with the argument, well, Canelo gave Bud a shot, bro. Terence Bud Crawford went to Turkey Al-Rashid. I want to tell you something. Remember the dude that you interviewed? Hey, Ness, I want to tell you. Can I tell you something? He went to that guy and he told him, I want to fight Canelo. And Turkey Al-Rashid said, well, Canelo's too big. He said, you sure? We got some guys at 54 you can fight. We got this, he said, no, I want to fight Canelo. Turkey Al-Rashid went and met with Canelo, who wasn't on good business terms with him then, because he said he didn't need Turkey Al-Rashid, that he's the face of boxing and stuff. Brought Canelo over to the negotiation tables and made that fight happen. Turkey Al-Rashid told Bud he felt like boxing had did him wrong and he wanted to make it right in terms of his career. He's exactly what God sent in that he needed at this moment, this juncture in his career. But now he's at the top of the mountain because he's the pound for pound fighter based on his skills, and he has Turkey Al-Rashid's wallet to back up any fight that he wants. He can get any fight that he wants right now. And now you're telling him that Canelo gave you a shot? No, that's not what happened. He brought Canelo. What Deontay want to say? You never forget who brought you to big time boxing. He brought Canelo to big time boxing. He brought Canelo to Turkey Al-Rashid. Because if Terence Bud Crawford don't ask for that fight, Turkey Al-Rashid stays on bad terms with Canelo, never brings him to negotiation tables and signs him for a multi-fight deal. That was Bud's doing. Let's not mistake that. Let's not get it twisted.
You always trying to move the goalposts on Bud.
When did Bud become bigger than the program? Canelo ain't bigger than the program.
Listen.
Now is when did Bud become bigger than the program? Canelo wasn't bigger than the program. Even though we've been asking Canelo to fight David Benavidez for at least 3 to 4 years. And his response was, well, if Turkey want me to fight him, he got to give me $200 million just for me to even think about fighting him. Nobody said Canelo wasn't bigger than the program then. But now all of a sudden, Terence Bud Crawford say Boots is a little tadpole. And all of a sudden, he not bigger than the program. He need to humble himself. Why he got to be humble? Come on, man. We starting to see this for what it really is, man. I'm seeing it. Y'all seeing it? I'm starting to see this for what it really is, man. In the same way that Muhammad Ali was really confident, told people that, you know, people wanted to see the man lose because he told them he was pretty. And he was confident. I'm starting to see what it is. Muhammad Ali tells a story about a person that went to every single one of his fights, a white lady. And after the fight, the white lady said, I'm at every single one of your fights. He signed an autograph for her. And she said, I can't wait for the day somebody beats you and humbles you. That's the Lord's will. He put it in the movie The Greatest. You don't believe me? Go watch it. It's on YouTube for free. But he put that in this movie. And that lady she hated Muhammad Ali because he was confident, because he really believed he was the guy he said he was. Terence Crawford not only believes it, but shows it. He got it. He jumped 3 weight classes. Like, I don't know how people who claim themselves to be boxing aficionados just lets that go over their head.
Listen, Bud fought his way up to the top. Didn't nobody give Bud shit. He had to fight and earn his way to the top.
No, coach. No. Heavy is the head.
Stop, man.
Heavy is the head.
Then he hit him with some philosophical stuff. He hit him with some poetry. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Well, how come when the Canelo had the crown, you wasn't pushing for Canelo to fight Benavidez? But Canelo not bigger than the program. Now that Canelo lost, he not bigger than the program. Man, come on, bro. Well, then you already got Canelo's hypothetical matchup at 68 or 75. Are you going to try to force that fight at 75 now that Canelo, you know what I mean, done had the shoulder surgery and has went up to 75 to fight Bivol, and went up to 75 to fight Kovalev? So he got a history of going up 75. Are you going to try to force that fight at 75 now? Since Heavy is the head that really, because he's still the face of boxing. This loss didn't hurt him. He lost before, you know.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Hold on. Canelo fought Triple G 3 times. Canelo fought Laura. We still want him.
Canelo fought Triple G 3 times. Right? This is what I'm saying. First off, Canelo fought Triple G twice. I give him credit for trying. That third, everybody know Triple G was washed up. We knew Triple G was fading. We knew that was a payday. Like, my homie all positive call him Cripple G. That's how serious that fight was taken, you know. And it's like, bro, what about Canelo's resume says anything about what he did to Canelo? Meaning this, what on Canelo's resume can you point out and say it's equivalent of Bud jumping up 3 weight classes after struggling against Mazadov, shoulder injury that people were aware about, that he had surgery on, older fight, all that stuff? What about that says equivalent? That to me is if that win is enough to put him top 5, stop comparing this man to Canelo. Canelo never jumped up 3 weight classes. Matter of fact, Canelo entertained jumping up a weight class to fight Bottle Jack and wanted to drain Bottle Jack down just to fight him. He didn't drain Canelo. He fought Canelo at his natural weight where he was undisputed and dominated him. So like I said, like Bomac is right. They moving the goal point. Bomac is also wasting his time. You wasting your time, Bomac. They are mad at the fact that y'all are undefeated. They're mad at the fact that they thought this was going to be the biggest test of your career and that you hadn't fought anybody. And you went in there and you beat the guy so decisively that even his personal judges that had did 3 of his last fights, one of them did 8 of his last fights, still could not give him the fight. They're mad at that, and they want to see you lose. So you're wasting your time, Bomac, arguing with these people.
Him to run the squabble with David Benavidez.
You're sad, brother. You're
That's
sad.
nasty.
You ain't no boxing fan.
You have just witnessed why boxing ain't shit.
Shout out to my homie Bruce Vane. But yes, that was a interesting back and forth. What's good? 37. What's good, Surf Out player? But yeah, that is to me why I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't gonna say I don't like the sport, because the sport is fine. Sport is good. It's the boxing channels, man. I know that boxing lives on YouTube nowadays, and that people like people have their biases, you know what I mean, confirmation bias or whatever the case may be. But you can never let that get away in the way of your opinion, especially if you're influential in the sport of boxing. Because a lot of these people don't know they think they look at y'all as experts. And it's like, if you're an expert, you can't be out there spreading these false narratives. Because this guy has proven himself. You know what I mean? And prove me wrong. You think that these people that want to see me wrong all the time, that it was pleasurable for me to pull up and the people I'm cool with that picked them telling me I don't know anything about you think that that's pleasurable? You think that that's a pleasant feeling? I ain't gonna lie, I don't really care about that. I'm more concerned about being wrong, because I watch a lot of this stuff and consume a lot of boxing. So that's really what upsets me, you know. And then a person telling me based on a pick, a fight is 50-50. My mama picked Terence Bud Crawford. She don't know more about boxing than me. You know what I mean? She would never say that. She know I really do this. She know this, right? But that's what upsets me. But it's not pleasurable. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. I picked against, but I was wrong. Ness, you were wrong. It's simple as that. Rather than say that, you rather double down on some bullshit. You rather try to stand firm in sand and act like you standing on business, but you're not. You gotta let it go, brother. You was wrong. You was wrong with that pick. You picked the wrong guy, and it's the end of an era. You're going through your grieving phases, and part of them is acceptance. Accept that this man is probably top 5 all time in the sport of boxing. Canelo could never say that. Accept that he dominated a guy that he shouldn't have been able to dominate, and accept that the judges got it right for once in boxing in a major fight. You got to accept these things. If not, you're going to continue to go spiral down this wormhole of tears, and we're going to look at you like you are, the dove that you are, just crying about nothing. The man, bro, the fight is not even, what, 2 months old? Not even 2 months old, and y'all already have his next opponent? Why don't y'all have Canelo's next opponent? Because Bud is not announcing the surgery that he got? He didn't announce the shoulder surgery. But y'all already had an opponent for him after he beat Spence. Why he always got to go tooth and nail and live up to the fans' expectations, but no other fighter does, including Floyd Mayweather? Why he got to do that? It's because y'all had that deep-rooted hate, and it's obvious. It's obvious to me. You know, I don't know if anybody else can see it, but it's obvious to me. You know, in the same way I criticize Bud, I can criticize YouTubers, and they're gonna get this work. They're gonna get it. If you out there capping, if you out there lying, to the people, I'm gonna tell the people that you're lying to them. It's just simple as that. You out there moving strange, I'm gonna tell you, tell the people that you're moving strange. So it's just that simple. Said shout out to Mama Scholar for believing in the black man. That's hilarious. But yeah, man. With that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode. I wanted to do a pop-up really quick. So what I'm gonna do is do this pop-up, and we got the late night boxing show. Listen, I don't know. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a community poll out, right? Because I want to do non-boxing. I'm just be honest with you. I want to do non-boxing. But Carissa Shields responded to Layla Ali. Y'all remember I did the part 1 of that where Layla Ali was talking stuff. So y'all let me know what y'all votes. I might do a hybrid episode, but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end it on that note. So y'all let me know. Y'all vote. Y'all want to hear Carissa Shields' response to Layla Ali, or would you rather hear non-boxing talk? 'Cause I got a bunch of that stuff too as well. You know, I mean, it's a bunch of stuff swirling around. Cash Money versus No Limit, whatever the case may be. I might do a hybrid episode, depending on who pull up, who pulls up, and then how the conversation flows. Because you know, I'm a good arbiter at that as well. So yeah, we'll see. Rob G said no boxing, no YouTube. What was that? The protest? No boxing, no YouTube. Nah, we gotta keep it balanced, Rob G. Gotta keep it balanced, brother. That's how we continue to grow. Said what I don't want to hear is Ray J. And on that note, make sure you hit the notification bell for the next live. And if you're free, pull up. But anyway, I'm gonna go handle my business. My business. Stay up out my business. You remember that song, Raji? It's mine. Oh my! I'm gonna have to get that drop. So So make sure y'all vote, participate, and I'll see y'all on the live tonight. Make sure you hit the notification bell because YouTube been tripping about the notifications. So make sure you hit the notification on that live. Like I said, if you're free, pull up. If not, enjoy the live from your job, and we'll get you through third shift. But anyway, it's the Boxing Scholar, and I'm out. Ray J, talk to Angie, serenade her soul. She out there hating, brother. She out there hating on you, brother. She's saying you can't serenade the souls like you once used to. So go ahead and talk to Angie Soul, Ray J.
Superstar, wish to have a fancy car, wish to have $1 million bucks. Well, I wish I don't be in love. So feel me, pretty baby. I make one wish and I wish it all on you. Making love to the break of dawn, me and you to the baby's born, till my baby's born.